Thank you, everybody, for the interest. I am actually representing Women's Initiative Supporting Group. It's a Georgia Tbilisi-based organization. We are a queer feminist organization, and we always based our work on intersectional approach, having holistic vision on transformative change. In struggles against the system, we always take into consideration complexity of power dynamics and acknowledge different dimensions of oppression. Back in 2002, we created the first website, Minority G, bringing information about SOGI and identity in Georgian online sphere because there was no any information about that. This was the first attempt of voicing existence of different identities in Georgian reality. I would say that message box based on identity politics is very important when community is not visible at all and does not exist in public sphere. And that point, now the social conflict also is not visible, although it existed. Yeah. I think that Georgia is a unique case in that regard because the conflict was initiated by politicians, media, church during 2007-2010. Was on first place before queer people appeared on the scene, and it was when anti-gay prides were held in Tbilisi and in Batumi. And our side of this conflict appeared only in 2012 during ILGA-Europe demonstration when we faced opposing clergies while we tried to demonstrate. And this conflict reached its culmination in 2013, ILGA-Europe demonstration, resulting in massive raid by 30,000 mobilized followers of church. I should say that this was a milestone in visibility as the conflict reached its culmination and showed that LGBTQI group exists in Georgia. And on the other hand, this event enhanced the process of constructing identity of homophobes also, which was effectively used afterwards by interested groups for increasing polarization. The attempt of peaceful demonstrations was fulfilled in 2017, though with very limited time and space, with high security measures, after which we realized that government did not have political will to act for sustainable changes, leading towards realization of rights in everyday life of each of us. Yeah. Also, there were several attempts to continue mainstream formats of visibility with ILGA-Europe and later with Pride marches till 2021, when the brutal violence was against journalists this time and resulted in tragic deaths of cameraman Lexo Lashkarova.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Could you maybe put your presentation on a full display mode? You have display settings, so we will see it bigger and we won't see your notes and the next slide.
I hope that it was in that way because I saw it in. Okay, let's try. Let's try again.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find a good moment to jump in.
Okay. What in this time? Great, good.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I actually try to speak with presentation, because I had never chance to, in that format, mainly just speaking, not without presentation. Yeah, and mainly offline, because as you noted, we do a lot of offline communication. Yes. Okay. So we managed to do our peaceful demonstration in 2007. But then then this tragic event with brutal violence against journalists resulted with the death of Lexo Lashkara was some kind of eye-opening for us, and we realized that something we should change. And also during all this period, we always feel that we should voice that copy pasting best practices of West is in this context of in contexts countries like Georgia, or which means that mainstream visibility based on identity politics is very much, and this process is very much supported by Western stakeholders. This process is very well used by politicians and fuel polarization also. That is why also our another thought is that today, when a system has definite expectations regarding forms and demands from activism, it is very easy to suppress or tame the activism. And we should always keep it in mind and to try to be more unpredictable. Only in this way we can trick the system and make possible achieving changes. And I can bring two examples of that. In 2018, when government did not offer anything, expect well-practiced formats of limited locations and time surrounding us with cages, so-called cages, when we try to celebrate Idaho Day, we refused to participate in this demonstration, and instead we organized guerrilla actions in different locations with live streaming on Facebook, and with that oppose somehow this process. Another example I would like to share with you is searching different formats. We came up to idea of queer systems run. To perish public spaces and questioning competition, ableism, and connecting queer sisters, queer issues intersectionally with the different oppressions and struggles from different groups and layers. Yes, and I would say that throughout our work, we consistently promote a culture of critical reflection, encouraging assessment of both ongoing and planned activities, and this is very important part of the process for us. And this mindset has been especially important as many of our initiatives has changed existing norms. At the same time, this reflective approach has allowed us to remain intentional in our efforts, maintaining strong sense of agency, and evaluate outcome in relation to our ongoing goals and objectives. And in this context of instrumentalization and polarization, our strategy is building bridges and finding connections among different social groups.
So I will go on. So bearing in mind that visibility is a tool for transformation and recognizing that existed visibility politics is used for polarization, we refuse to contribute to this so-called taming activism by counterproductive forms, and which was fixed to dates and locations. Therefore, if we ask a question, what formats should be used, like online formats or offline formats, it's important always to think about what aim do we have when we plan an action. So both ways of communication, online and offline, they both have its aim and have its limitations. So online is more effective, maybe in spreading information, but offline communication has more potential to lead to transformational effect. Transformation happens in if the audience is not a just passive receiver of the message, but can actively participate in the process. This is the idea of our communication concept, and you can see this, we called it like participation for change. So the second, also very important principle of offline communication is co-creation, which also gives ground for the transformational change. This combination of formats and forms, the choice is involved when and who do we involve as co-creators or participants may like in different times may be different. For example, like 15 years ago, we actively used flash mobs, inviting just random people to participate in our actions. And this format was at that time was new, and we found it new and interesting. Also, we actively collaborate with artists, inviting them to participate in contests, co-curating different exhibitions, and partnering in like performances and projects. And we try to always build good ties with them. We give space to queer artists, and it means giving space for self-reflection and encouraging self-reflection for queer artists. And on the other hand, we also give space to non-queer artists, and we try to encourage them to open up to feminist and queer issues. So here you can find some of the examples, like the photos from our projects. If you will have questions, then please feel free to ask. And two also big events, so big offline formats that are annual formats I would love to draw your attention is a Feminist Film Festival and International Feminist Forum. These are two big annual offline events where we create like safe and brave space to promote intersectional and solidarity-based collaboration through discussions, critical analysis, sharing knowledge, experience, ideas. So, as for the last navigation in new crisis that we are facing now, well, while adopting with new crisis and the challenges, when political homophobia in Georgia reached its climax last year, we combined online and offline activities to reach different targets, operating with anonymous social media profile. And also we traveled in the regions of Georgia, disseminating the printed newspaper with the same content that we had this anonymous profile on Facebook. And it wouldn't be also exaggerated to say that as an accumulative result of our vision in communication, WISG created space in narratives around visibility politics and helped activism to go out of the box of mainstream visibility. Well instrumentalized by government, which transformed like in political homophobia as part of pre-election campaign in 2024. Another outcome was a so-called strategy of silence against LGBT propaganda law developed among CSOs and a wider range of allies and opposition. This strategy intended not to answer any provocative messages from government and the ruling party, and not to fuel their hatred narrative during the pre-election campaign. It was kind of intentional ignore from our side. And it is very important to question also, who do we give power to speak about us? Even like queer-friendly position is not a sufficient criteria to give this power. And here we come to the very important topic of solidarity ethics. And it's very important to elaborate on it and think about solidarity ethics and who will talk about queer issues in this process. And also it's very important that our intentional silence was broken by us, protesting anti-fascist LGBT law with queer activists and allies. And we organized a public reading of anti-fascist manifesto of the queer resistance. And additionally, it's also important for us that instead of much instrumentalized symbol like rainbow flag, to decolonize activism on symbolic level also, the alternative symbol of queer resistance was created for this manifesto. And this is a pomegranate in reference to Armenian film director and queer artist Sergei Parajanov, who was based in Tbilisi in 20th century. Yes, and I think I will.
Yeah, and last, also very important part of this approach and this strategy is the challenges we face through this process. Yeah, and we face it a lot. We face also setbacks, because exploring these new approaches, yeah, often left us feeling isolated and marginalized, because our efforts was met with more criticism than support. Also, this criticism drained us both from energy and motivation. And another important thing is that as consequences is that prioritizing the issue over the visibility of the organization has been the diminishing recognition of our contribution also. And on several occasions, our input was ignored. And even our authorship rights were compromised. And as a result, we struggled at times to maintain public awareness and a strong organizational image also, which was not very visible at some point. But we think that it was worth it to do so, and we stayed in our vision and our approaches, and I think we will continue if we have possibility. Also, thank you very much for our presentation, and if you have questions, we will happily answer.